Card, I don't know that there's a matchup that I'm more intrigued and excited for in the Elite Eight than Florida and Texas Tech. Florida has been sensational all season long. These are your Gators. Texas Tech has been a team that, when healthy, looked primed for a Final Four run. They're not healthy, and yet somehow they're still one game away from a trip to San Antonio where, we'll see Houston. Houston can get there, should get there. Texas Tech in the state of Texas in the Final Four would be quite an accomplishment and quite an opportunity for Graham McCasland. So, are you looking forward to this? Just these two teams being here, does it feel right?
Um, I mean, to be honest with you, I picked this before the bracket dropped, and I was assuming that Texas Tech would be healthy. And I don't think you can argue that Texas Tech has found a way with grit and determination to make their way to this point. But it hasn't been the prettiest way to get there, but they're there, and I don't think you can take away that credit for them. And then on the other side, like you're getting a really good half of basketball from Florida, and they're winning games because they are so talented. But I think if they run up against teams that are on the same par talent-wise as them, then they could struggle by maybe only playing a half or coming out nonchalant. But this Texas Tech team is just too beat up to be the team that does that. And also, and maybe I didn't notice it fast enough, this Texas Tech team is small. They're small, and Florida's not small. Florida has a really big front court. So it's an interesting matchup, but I would say that like yeah, out of the matchups that could occur, this will probably be the one that I'm least interested in, I would say.
They're small, especially at the guard spots.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't feel like they're small everywhere else, at least when McMillan's back out there, but
Well,
um
is he done? Like if he's done, like just say he's done.
yeah, it doesn't seem like he's going to return.
Okay, but like why not just say that?
So that teams have to prepare for him, right?
I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I have respect for Texas Tech the way they didn't quit in that Arkansas game. I know I wasn't on the recap, but I thought they were being thoroughly outplayed. Arkansas was making shots. You saw it go to McCaslin, and they were like, "Hey, what do you need to change? Do you like what's going on? How do you feel?" And he was just like, "Hey, our game plan was to give this team that can't shoot these shots. They're making them. We got to find a different way, give them credit. But I honestly like how things are at. We just need to stay the course." And I think that was true. Like they didn't really drastically change anything. It almost felt like McCaslin was willing to place a bet here that's like, hey, my team's going to have more composure, more toughness, and grind this game out late if you keep taking these dumb shots that are going in right now. He placed
Mhm.
that bet. He put his chips on the table. He was right. And now he's earned this opportunity to get a team that's a lot better than them. Now, the one thing that I would say is you can't put yourself behind against Florida. If you do, if they dig a hole like they did against Arkansas, isn't it just night time? Like you can't get down 12 to this Florida team with Elijah Martin, Walter Clayton in the front court.
Yeah, no, you can't. They're too talented. They're too balanced. I will say this though. Can I say one reason why I like the matchup for Texas Tech?
Yeah.
I actually like it because I think that they could take advantage of Florida doing the too cool for school thing. Because I think that this Texas Tech team is tough as shit. Like I understand, like they are a little bit undermanned. They are short at the guard spot, but like they are what's it? Inflappable. I think is the term of it. And I think that they're in a spot where they are. If you come out with a too cool for school approach, they will kind of drag you down to the mud, and they will be fine and comfortable there.
Okay. What does that look like in an actual game? Because I agree, like as a talking point, it's like this team's tougher than Florida. Florida's more talented and can get complacent. I guess what would actually happen in a game there, game script wise? Like Clayton's just like dicking around,
Yeah, kinda.
and then Texas Tech is like offensively is JT Toppin just dominating? Is Elijah
Yeah.
Hawkins making shots?
I think it's a lot of JT Toppin, and
Okay.
I think it's a lot of it would be like the guards or guys on Florida dicking around, turning the ball over, and then also like having mental lapses on the defensive end. Like
Yeah.
one of the things that Arkansas did so well against Texas Tech for the most part is that they were very, very heavily shading JT Toppin to his right hand, and he struggled in that game against their size. And Florida has the size to do that, but also in that first half, especially against Maryland, it wasn't just the turnovers. They also had a lot of mental breakdowns, like not being crisp on switches, not switching or going over screens on guys that could shoot. Now Texas Tech doesn't really have like, you know, absolute burner shooters like that, but they are a team that I think could take advantage of some mental mistakes. And when you ask me what that looks like, it looks like a win for Florida, but not by as many points.
Okay. Yeah, I guess I could see that. I just struggle with this. I worry about Texas Tech's offense right now. I know they ended up scoring 85 points.
It was nasty. It was nasty yesterday.
I didn't like the answers they were trying to find against Arkansas. And I thought a big part of the game was that Arkansas was just bigger and more athletic pretty much everywhere.
Mhm.
Now, if Arkansas looks bigger and more athletic everywhere, Florida's going to feel like the Monstars against this team. So I'm just trying to envision it. Again, I think there's a lot of toughness that will apply to this game for Tech. I respect this team a lot. Christian Anderson, dog, by the way, one of the biggest. I wish my program would have landed that guys, ever. He was committed to Michigan under Juwan for like 5 years and just fire the coach right before he gets there. He might have saved Juwan's job, to be honest, because this kid rocks.
Yeah.
And I love the way they're wired mentally. They're never going to give up. I look at this team right now. Kerwin Walton in the starting lineup, can't play him. Kevin Overton had a good game off the bench, but I don't think you're banking on that against Florida. And Elijah Hawkins, are we going to talk about his performance? Because if that's what you look like against the Arkansas guards, what are you looking like against the best point guard in the country?
Is the best point guard in the country locked in?
I don't think he needs to be to destroy Elijah Hawkins.
That's true. Yeah, Elijah Hawkins cannot check Walter Clayton.
He made some good defensive plays late in the game, but offensively, he was buried the whole game.
There were thoughts going through my head that he was point shaving.
It was weird. It was crazy. But I don't know. Like I'm kind of saying, like, okay, Texas Tech has sort of played with their food. They've dug holes and let teams hang around, like Wilmington. Florida's done the same. They
Yeah.
almost went down to UConn. Maryland was basically a tie game at the half, even though Kevin Willard literally didn't want to be there. So I don't know. Like it sounds dumb because both these teams are really good. They're both top 7 teams in the country. But I really am at a point right now where I'm kind of feeling like I'll be a little surprised if either of these teams truly gets there. And it should be Florida, right? Like they've been the favorite in every single game, but I don't feel like we've seen Florida play their best yet in this tournament.
Yeah, and you know, a lot of things too went that way for Texas Tech in that game. They had 22 offensive rebounds against Arkansas, which led to a lot of second chance points when they were missing a lot. This Florida team, if I'm not mistaken, I gotta pull it up. I gotta get better internet in my house. I'm pretty sure they're a pretty good defensive rebounding team. They're a really good offensive rebounding team. So you got to be careful of that. But yeah, I think that if they, to your point, if Texas Tech was struggling with the physicality and size of Arkansas, welcome to Florida.
Yeah.
It's gonna
Yep.
be it's gonna be better.
Yep. Best player on the floor in this game is who?
Ooh, Walter Clayton,
Second best is who?
JT Toppin,
Third best is who?
uh, Darion Williams,
I think it might be Darion Williams.
then Elijah Martin.
At some point, you're going to hit a flurry of Florida guys. It's just how early are you going to hit the flurry?
I think it'd be like now it'd be Martin, Richard. Um, I mean, I know you feel differently about like guys like Condon.
I like Condon. He's been great.
Like, would you put Condon ahead of like the Christian Andersons of the world?
Yeah.
Okay, so that'd probably be the flurry right there. Then you would get to Christian Anderson, and then probably maybe go back to a Florida guy.
Yeah. Yeah, it could happen. Give me a player to watch because I got one out of everybody. It's a guy we've already named, but there's one guy I think is the key to this game for either side.
one guy that's the key to the game for either side.
Just like
Is it
he's
Christian?
he's the important player in the game.
It's not Christian Anderson, is it?
Nope.
Darion Williams?
Darion Williams. So if you get the Darion Williams you got against Arkansas, 20 points on 26 shots, you're losing by 10.
Yeah.
But also, I think archetype wise, Darion Williams is the one guy that I don't know if Florida can match up with.
Right. It's like that weird, like 6'6" tweener. He can kind of keep bigs off balance, but he could also hit the three, so you do have to close out. It's a tough matchup.
Well, if there's a hole on the Florida roster, it's big wings, right? Like who are they sticking on Williams?
They probably put, ooh, I don't know. They could go small. They could put like Thomas Hogg on him,
I mean, if they're putting the bigs on him, I think that's trouble.
but also you can't put like Elijah Martin on him.
It might have to be like Will Richard.
Is it Richard or Richard?
It's we always say Richard. People told us it's Richard. There was no reason we said Will Richard for years.
I'm sticking with Richard.
It sounds so much better.
Yeah, my national champ is Will Richard. So let's go with that. No disrespect to him and his name, but yeah, I look, Darion Williams, he was awful for most of the part of that game. He also made all the winning plays, send the game into overtime. Down the stretch, I thought McCassin did a great job of getting smaller guys switched onto him. I mean, I guess to your point, when Darion Williams was effective at the end of the game, they were getting like Nelly Davis switched onto him. And
Yep.
there was nothing Nelly Davis could do. There's a lot of Nelly Davis shaped guys on Florida, so it could be an issue.
And Darion Williams, 11 for 18 in the Drake game right before this. So it's not like he's been struggling in this tournament. He was dominant the game before. He just couldn't make a shot for the first 35 minutes of the Arkansas game. So
Right.
I will say I think I expect a great game from Williams. I don't know how Florida matches up there, but I also think Florida has the advantage in the backcourt and can do enough to disrupt Toppin that it's kind of going to come down to me. What's the bigger gap? Is it Darion Williams against whoever Florida sticks him on, or is it Clayton against Texas Tech's guards?
That's the bigger gap.
You think so?
Hmm.
Because I view Texas Tech as a team with a great backcourt.
Good backcourt.
I think they're a great backcourt.
They're good backcourt.
They kind of need McMillan back because you need him to guard Clayton, don't you?
You need McMillan back just in general.
Just in
Like that,
general.
you need him back. I would actually, there's a world where I pick Texas Tech to win this game if they had McMillan.
Yeah, I think me too. What happens to Christian Anderson in this game? Because I love him. We love him. Great player, stud. This matchup scares me for him.
It scares me too because like like you said, I love Christian Anderson. He's one of my favorite freshmen in the country. Him going up against like a bunch of 6'2", 30-year-olds, like for lack of a better term, strong ones at that too, not the most ideal situation for me.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Like
just like
Elijah Martin's built like a fullback.
right. And wants to punish you.
Yeah, and is going to look at Christian Anderson and think like I want to eat him.
Yeah, I kind of worry like the Mark Sears mojo he got when he realized BYU was just going under every time is something that like Clayton could get looking at Christian Anderson. Like
Yeah,
you're putting the 160-pound 18-year-old on me.
yeah, that's enough of that.
Let me get 40. Like
Yeah,
I just worry about that in this game. And if they don't have McMillan, they got to play Anderson, who was great last game by the way, Ken Pom MVP, but crazy. Anything else on this matchup before we get to predictions?
ooh, no, I think we're good to get the predictions on this one.
Okay. Ken Pom has Florida favored by 5. What do you got?
Uh, yeah, I think Florida wins and covers in this game if it's at 5. I think the line's actually 6.5. But yeah, I'll take Florida. I'm gonna take Florida 80. Let's go Florida 87 to Texas Tech 77.
I think a fully healthy Texas Tech covers 6 or 6.5. I think that line's a little disrespectful. I do think Darion Williams is a total mismatch against Florida, and he's got to have a great game. I think he will have a great game to make things interesting. But I also think just point blank, I think Florida's here in the Elite Eight. as the favorite, and I don't think we've seen them play a great game yet. There's going to be a moment in this tournament where Florida just plays their A+ game. And I would guess it comes in this game
Mhm.
before the Final Four rather than when they get to the Final Four. So
That's a fair assessment. Like send a message game to run route to the Final Four.
they're too good. They always like we've seen crazy Florida blowouts this year against good teams. I think they're due for one. They haven't had one up till this point and they're here. So unfortunately, I think Texas Tech becomes the victim of that. We'll see. I got Florida big. We'll have a recap up of this after this game. Thanks for watching.
It is March, and that means that March Madness is upon us. And if you are looking for a place to play, Underdog Fantasy has you covered. Sign up and deposit using code SLEEPERS, that's code SLEEPERS, to receive up to $1,000 in bonus credit plus a free pick. Head over to Underdog Fantasy today and use promo code SLEEPERS to take advantage of this amazing offer.